Greetings Internet and welcome to Aaron Plays, and I hope you're doing fantastically well. In this video I'll be going through sort of an unboxing look at Starship Troopers. Now I've already done a mini intro with Mark, which is going through how we're going to play it, which is using Vassal and checking the interface. Now I'm going to have a look at the game itself in a bit more detail. I'm not relatively new to the game. I have looked at it before and it's never really appealed to me to play until I start talking with you guys on the chats and such forth in the comments, and I then did a bit more investigation on BGG and Consim and such forth, and there seemed to be quite a lot of love for this game. Even though when I looked at it, I mean, I had a copy for a while that I picked up when I bought quite a few games together. It never met, and I opened it up and I was like, yeah, bored. But never looked at the rules, never looked, I mean, I loved the book back when I was a teenager. So long ago. That I rebought the book. And it arrived and I've just started it. Because I think the best way for me to get into the game would be to read the source material. I watched the movie. Yeah, the movie was fine, but I know it's not from memory anything like what this is like. So got the book, that's the first stage. You see I've only just started it, and then obviously I've got the game. Now as I say, I'll be playing this on Vassal, but let's have a look what's actually in the box and discuss it. Then I'll go over to the Vassal, upload it, because I'm going to be playing scenario 1 solo, and scenario 2 I'll be playing opposed with Mark. We haven't decided who's going to be the bugs or the Terrans as yet, but yeah, so I'm just going to be using scenario 1 as a learning tool, see if I can get the rules into my head and such forth. It shouldn't be too difficult. I mean, I can handle ASL. Why have I stopped playing ASL? Well, let's go down the board and have a look. Oh, and if you could do the channel a favour, please hit the like, subscribe, you know all that YouTube. Let's go down. Okay, the box art doesn't do a lot for me. That's what, you know, book cover, shouldn't judge, etc. And I probably did quite a few times. Yeah, it might be how they describe them in the book, but that doesn't really do much for me. I think they could have done a lot better job with the cover art. The stuff on the back though is quite interesting. Signed by Heinlein. Did he actually sign? I don't know, but if that's their interpretation of a brain bug or a normal bug, don't know. But it's got everything it needs to say on the tin. Bugs, zillions of them, Mr. Rico. Yeah. But you don't judge a game by what's on the cover, he says. Obviously, having done so in the past many times, you judge what's inside the cover, don't you? He does. So let's lift that up. Okay, so I bought this secondhand. So there are some unpunched counters. They look like probably the counters for the first scenario. So maybe I might. No, I'm going to do it on Vassal. It's all going to be on Vassal. But so initial bunch of counters. Now it's a 1976 game. The condition this has arrived in is absolutely excellent. It is a programmed instruction rulebook similar to Up Front, Original Squad Leader, that you read a bunch of rules, and again the rules appear to be well laid out, and then you play the first scenario. So I've only got a read up to here, you know. So it's that, and then I can play the first scenario. Yay! So then you got scenario 2, Operation Bug Out, which introduces. So the first scenario introduces the skinnies, which is the first chapter, which I'm reading in the book. I say it was many years ago I read the book, and I barely can remember what happened. But rereading it, the first chapter is focusing on him jumping around fighting the skinny. So as him going, it doesn't start with his training. So I assume his training will come in at some point. Because I remember there was training in it, just like in the movie. So scenario 2 introduces the bugs, and that's the one that me and Mark would play opposed. Again using vassal, and that introduces quite a few more rules. Well, you say a few more rules. Let's have a look. There's an extra little bit. 1 page, 2 pages of rules. Yeah. Then we've got scenario 3, which looks like it bringing back the skinnies. Okay. Scenario 4, just called Revolt. No idea. Terrans, air cars, arachnid demolition. So it looks like it's against the arachnids. Scenario 5 is just called Sheol. Doesn't really say much what that's who that's against. It's got tunnels, so again I presume bugs. Scenario 6, Operation Royalty, the battle for Planet P. I'm assuming these are taken from, as in these scenarios are taken from this, but I'll only know once I finish reading this. And yeah, so each again introducing a little bit more extra rules, and then we have got the scenario. I would have liked these on separate cards, AK, squad leader, etc. But they're at the back of the book. I mean, I could print them out, couldn't I? So it tells you what forces. That's useful. Yeah, well, of course it's useful. Be silly to have a game where it didn't tell you what forces there was involved. But scenario instructions for itself. So you've got the rules and then the actual scenarios themselves. So yes, the second one is definitely against bugs. Third one against the skinnies. Fourth one, bugs. Fifth one, bugs. Sixth one, bugs. Seventh one, bugs. Eighth one, bugs. So it looks like just the skinnies get to appear twice. And then you've got stuff that allows you to, because you had the program instruction, you can go back and play the original scenarios with then the full rules and how to adjust for the full rules that you've learned over the previous 7 scenarios. Now, there doesn't appear to be a design your own scenario, like a sandbox thing, like ASL or Squad Leader back, because, this came out around about, this is 76, Squad Leader was 77? So around about the same sort of time. But there doesn't seem to be like a pay your own cost chart. But overall, the rules themselves look not undoable, not underdigestible, and, well, considering the age of the game, good quality, and the artwork's not bad. It's quite evocative. I'm still not sold on this interpretation of the suit. That's not what I'm reading when I'm reading the book. But if that's their interpretation and Mr. Heynen was happy with that, then fine. Who am I to argue? I think this is an excellent picture of one of the skinnies. I don't know where that's come from, but that really is like, yes, I like that. So yes, there's enough historical research. I hate people doing this. Why do I do this? Historical research to go along with what's in the rule book. Okay, so then we get one of these. God. I remember when I opened the box many years ago, I thought, what? It's tiny. And my eyesight's even worse, so I might need to blow one of these up. I know there's one side for each player. Break down what equipment the mobile infantry, it says right at the top there, mobile infantry is carrying. Though I think in the first scenario they're not carrying anything other than their personal weapons. And this is for the bugs to lay out their plan. I don't know if we'll actually need this on Vassal, because you can do the person who's playing the bugs can actually lay out their plan, and the person who's playing the humans won't even see it. So, the warrens, the tunnels and such forth. But there's a whole pad of them. So this game didn't get played, this version of the game, obviously because there's only a few counters actually punched out. Articles from the General, which will need to be digested. General Dealer, you normally do a for each one of the games they released, they did say an episode, but they did a feature in one of the generals. So this seems to have a breakdown of the units, how to play the game Solitaire. There's quite a few things on BGG for Solitaire. Playtesters report, I suppose. What else is in here? Saga of the Bug War, variant rules for campaign play. Okay. Initial overview. There doesn't seem to be anything as a, like for a sandbox thing. How to pay, traditional units. There's 7 scenarios in there. How many times do we buy these games? Oh, I'm going to play all of them, and we never do. I still think. Did I ever play every single scenario in Squad Leader? Don't know. Can't honestly answer that question. I know I played all of the scenarios from Beyond Valor for ASL, and I probably did play all the Squad Leader scenarios, but I still haven't played all the upfront ones, and that's my 10 out of 10 game. Top dog. Original. What you want to buy when you buy it. Right. Okay. All right. So let's have an initial look at the counter sheet. For its day, they're not bad. They're tidy, they're centralized, and they're not too... I have a big problem when it comes to counters and they have the little link in between the middle, because no matter how you clip them, you've always got this annoying... Yeah, I know. Sorry, a bit anal about clipping, but at least these don't have that annoying... Let's have a look. Let's just take one out. Okay, so I can clip that nice and neat, and there's nothing on the sides. Okay, which has like a little nub in it, and you're sitting there with a knife, and it just doesn't work. So now I've got another punch counter, which I'm going to have to put in the baggie of counters I've got out already. So, yeah. Now, will I ever need to clip the counters? Well, if I enjoy the game, I'll intend to introduce this to some of the people I play face to face. There seems to be interesting rules in there. It's just if I can get them to want to play something, and this is my biggest bug with this kind of board. Now, I'm sorry, it still doesn't do anything for me. Now, all right, again, this might be as described in the book. I don't know, I'll have to get there where they describe most of the planets are occupied by the skinnies and the bugs as open savannas and plains and so on. But even just a couple of overlays of a forest, so I could, change the map a bit. And again, this is probably why I didn't play it back in the day. It's just bland. Now, some of you might think it's the most gorgeous thing on the planet, But that there is the city. Yeah. Maybe that's all the game needs. But again, I would expect it, again, just reading the first chapter of the book, he's attacking across, he describes the city in quite a bit of detail, even leaping across different places and then encircling. That doesn't do it for me. But it's what that does into my head once I start playing the game, is then that might make me go, wow, of course. But on initial look, when you open the box, that was disappointing. And I'm talking about many years ago. At the present moment, I've looked at games recently in a different light. If you've been watching my videos on Anzio, Caesar's Legions and such forth, it's not what's necessarily portrayed here, it's how it affects you in your mind. And you get your imagination go. I was very surprised with Caesar's Legions. I was very surprised with Anzio's as well. And even the Russian camp, the strike and camp Moscow battle. It's how it affects you mentally rather than just purely visually. Yes, a lot of games, modern games, the artwork is stunning, but sometimes you can play them and go, yeah, that didn't really do anything, did it? So, anyway, that's what's in the box. Let me bring you back to me, and I'll have another little bit of a jibber jabber. Okay, so yeah, that's the box, and it's got the charts and the I didn't actually show the charts and tables, did I? No, I think they were inside the rule book, or they were. There is a charts and tables. Oh, there we go. There's not many. You got a terror and attack chart, a terrain chart, and alien attack chart, SW and E loss chart, support weapons and equipment, and a mobile infantry carrying capacities chart. So there's not much on here. And I don't know if they're on the vassal module. I'll find that out as I look at it. But yeah, so my initial thoughts are modified from my initial thoughts many years ago, when I said I had this on the shelf for a short while because I picked it up, and eventually I sold it on eBay because I looked at that. No, it doesn't do anything. What I should have done back then was probably go like I'm doing now, read the book, and then get inspired to do it. However, I've come a different way, because I bought this game recently. Because a few of you guys mentioned it, I then decided to do a delve in it. I was watching The Expanse at the time and a few other sci-fi shows, and I thought, you know what, I rewatched the movie, and again, I know it's not, but it's still, I think it's a great movie. I haven't watched the second, third, fourth, or however many other iterations there are. And I know it's not a true reflection of this, but anyway, all sort of like, yeah. And I picked this game up around this Christmas 2023. Thanks, Dad. He gave me the funds for it. It wasn't too expensive. And I also noticed that Mark actually had 2 copies on his shelf. So we had a little bit of a chat, and he said, yeah, great game. I haven't played it for years. So I thought, oh, why not? Why not? That's what part of my channel's about. Well, the initial thought was to play games that I had on my shelf at the time when I started the channel, to actually play those. Not to buy extra games to then play those, but that's what sort of happened. I haven't, and I still haven't played all the games that were originally on the shelf back then, but your interests change, don't they? You know, as you evolve through the hobby. And I say evolve, am I de-evolving? Because I'm playing a lot of these older games and finding out they stand up very well compared to the shiny new stuff. See, I'm doing it again. Stop it. The shiny new stuff you can pick up, which sometimes you feel like you're actually play testing for them, and then you get a second edition. So you spend all that money, and then you go, well, I've got to, or you get a second edition update kit. Yes, I'm looking at you, GMT. Yes, Fire of the Lake was very disappointing in the sense that, well, it wasn't, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and then 3 or 4 years later, second edition update kit, and you think, what? Didn't get second edition update kits with these things, did you? Never, maybe you think you might have done. You know, they used to churn these sort of games out quite rapidly. But then again, they do that now. They're churning them out. And I can't, my wage packet can't sustain buying lots and lots and lots of new games at the cost they are now. But I can sustain buying a fair few older games. Anyway, so the next part of the video, I'm going to go to Vassal and load up and show you what it looks like. I mean, me and Mark have sort of done all that already, but I'm going to set up this first scenario, going through a little bit of the rules as I'm doing so, because I'm going to try and relearn the rules with you guys, because a lot of you have played this. A lot of you have probably played this in the past. I haven't touched it for again 30-40 years, but there might be quite a few there who are interested and never played it. So yeah, that's why I'm going to do the first scenario solo and go through. But I don't really want to start playing it in detail until I've read the book. So I'll be as fast as I can, but it all depends on other things, because I want to watch other YouTube channels, go to work, these kind of things get in the way. But, you know, yes, this will be my reading stuff for the next however long it takes. I mean, it's not a massive book, is it? What we're looking at, 280 pages. But yeah, let's go to the Vassal module. Well, let's go to my computer and the Vassal module. And now we're at my computer, and I've got the rules in hand. Yay! Okay, so we're going to do the first scenario, scenario 1, raid on the humanoids. Now, I'm not sure if this is reflecting what is in the first chapter of the book, but the first chapter of the book starts with the raid on the humanoids. And there are effectively 1, 2.5 or 2 3/4 pages of rules. Now, I could sit here and go, right, introduction, Starship. No. No. What I'm going to do is bring up the map, okay, of it, go through the counters, and then just look at each of the sections of the rules and give a brief skim. I don't want to sit here and go, and every single rule. That what I want to do is set up the scenario, ready for play. I assume that the humanoids will set up first. So humanoids set up anywhere within 18 hexes of any city, spaceport, hex, and move second. Enter map board turn 1, anywhere on the southern edge of the map board, and move first. So we will do that, but we'll go through the basics of the rules. So for any of you that don't know the game, or I say I'm sort of learning it, I have skim read the rules prior to me saying, I think I'll do this, just to make sure that I feel comfortable doing this. And we're now ready to do this. So let's go down to the map and have a discussion about the rules and the counters and the rest of it. So let me just pause this video at this point. And that's the map. That's what it looks like. As I said earlier, but hopefully I'll get to see beyond the map. This has also got the skinny troops in this yellow. So let's zoom. Can I zoom in maximum? Boop, 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 boop. Right, okay. Let's alpha. Oh, we can get quite a bit of detail on them. Okay, so there's various codes on here. I think it's the standard wargaming stuff, isn't it? You've got attack strength, the first number, defense strength, the second number, and then movement allowance is the third number. Nothing revolutionary there. You've also got identification numbers here, but it looks like they've just cloned the counters, but we can change that when we set it up. Obviously, you've got the unit symbol. They look pretty skinny to me. And then you've got it says parent unit. You've got B, B, B on them, and A. I don't know if that's relevant. We will find out as we go along. So these are all accounted for. Now, what's perturbing me from a solo point of view is the decoy. How do I get around a decoy in a solo game? I'll have to think about a plan for that one. Okay, so that's. So let's have a look what we've actually got here. So we've got the alien troops, the skinnies. Okay, these here are workers, worker units. These 0, 1, 2. So they obviously got no attack, got a little bit of defense. These are strong points. So they've got what, 6 of them, yeah. And then all this, you've got obviously some decoys, and the rest here are installations of different types. That's a power 1, communications, water. Okay, so I'm assuming I've got to knock those out. There are, and yeah, looking at the scenario 1 now, it's interesting. Scenario 1 in the actual on the scenario card is called Feint against the humanoids, where it's called in scenario 1 in the actual rules part is called Raid on the humanoids. Why the different name? Don't know. Okay, so they've got 12 of these troops, 6 workers, 6 strong points, 4 decoys, and as you can see, those installations. And then it tells me for the humanoids, set up anywhere within 18 hexes of or any city space or port hex, spaceport hex. What is a spaceport hex? I hear you scream. Or is that a spaceport? See, there you go. You learn as you go. Okay, so all of these terrain like that are city spaceport. It doesn't seem to differentiate between them. So they've got to set, so the schemes have got to set up within 18 hectares of that. The game length is defined as 12 turns. So okay, now the victory conditions, Terran. So that's the mobile infantry. Accumulate more victory points than the humanoid player at the end of the game. Humanoid, accumulate as many or more victory points than the Terran player at the end of the game. Victory points are awarded for the destruction damage of enemy units. Okay. So what do the mobile infantry have? Let's see. Is there a... Because they come on apparently on the south side of the board. Can't see a setup chart for them other than what's available here. So there are these guys. These are the heavy infantry, the heavy hitters. What are they called? They are the marauder units. Your grunts. There are 7 of those. Now again, I notice they've all got this little A next to them. I'm assuming that can be changed. 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. We've got 1 scout, which is one of these. So you can move considerably faster. And 1 leader, 2, 6, 10. There we go. Right, so that is it for the Terrans. But again, you look at the combat strength, you're talking 4 to 3. Okay. Attack to defense, that's pretty much 1-to-1. However, then back, they need 3 to get 1-to-1. So, yeah. Okay. The humanoid player receives points for inflicting the following damage. Okay, so for each marauder unit, heavy damage gets 2 points. Killed in action is worth 5 points. Scout unit is worth 1 and 3. Damage 1, KIA 3. And the command unit, so that's that dude there, is worth 7 points if he's damaged, or 12 points if he's eliminated. Interesting. Note, points awarded for 1 category only. Damage units that are subsequently KIA count for the KI. All right, you don't get it both. Right, so if you wounded a heavy damage unit and then killed it, you wouldn't get both. You just get the killed points, right? Terran player receives points for inflicting damage as follow. For each warrior unit eliminated, and these are the warrior units, 1 point. Well, that's a contrast, isn't it? Wow. Assuming, notice it's got heavy damage. They go straight to killed, I assume then. For each worker unit eliminated, -1 point. Ooh, we can't kill these dudes. Special rule. Non-combatant casualties are to be avoided. Okay, so we're trying to be the good guys here. Don't hurt the civilians. Therefore, each worker unit destroyed subtracts 1 victory point from the Terran victory point total. Additionally, the Terran player receives points for destroying the following critical installation counters. The humanoid player receives the same number of victory points for critical installation counters undestroyed at the end of the game. So for each power source counter, that's these ones. Oh, wait, I can do this. Can I? Oh. Oh, did we double? Oh, they haven't put a pointer on it. All right, that's interesting. So for each one of these ones, which won't be moving, but there we go, they are worth 5 points. Communication centers, there you go, are worth 7 points. And the water supply, now, again, I'm reading the book and I'm at the point where he's decided, he's looking for the water supply to feel like he's doing something good. And then he gets told that he has to do an encircle maneuver rather than look for the water supply. He's like, I want to do it. So that's exactly where I am at the present moment. So the water supply, that's worth 15 points. So remember, as the humanoid player, you get points for knocking these out. The as a Terran player, you get points for knocking them out. The humanoid player will actually get points for them still surviving. Okay, and that's effectively the start scenario. Now, what to do about the decoys? Well, let's see what the rules say about the decoys, and then we can work that particular part out. Because it could be that I might have to put blank arrows all over the map. And I mean, there's 4 decoys for a total of 12, 13, 14, 15, 18, 4 to 18. That's 1 in 4 counters could be decoy-ish. So inverted, and when alien combat units and critical installation counters may be positioned and moved on the map board in an inverted manner in all of the scenarios to limit the opposing player's knowledge of the exact strength and disposition of friendly units. So all alien worker, warrior, heavy weapons, decoy, and critical installation units may be placed on the map board face down prior to the commencement of play. An alien unit must be turned face up whenever an enemy unit ends moving in its hex. The unit is exposed at the end of the enemy movement phase. An alien unit must be turned face up immediately whenever it enters a hex occupied by a functional enemy unit. It's saying critical installations could move. How can an installation move? Are they on wheels? Definition: a functional unit is one that is non-disrupted, non-stunned, non-WIA, wounded in action, or non-KIA condition resulting from combat. Face-up alien may be reinverted at the beginning of the alien player segment, provided the unit is in a hex unoccupied. Fair enough. Humanoid units under strong point counters may not be examined by the opposing player unless they attack the enemy units. When they attack such units, they must be revealed. Decoy units, as provided in the individual scenarios, function like inverted real units. Decoy units, however, have no combat strength and are immediately eliminated from the game whenever. Okay, that's fair. You know, I'm a bit confused by. And critical installations may be placed on the map board face down. An alien unit must be turned face up whenever it ends. Yeah, the installations can't move, surely. No, I must have misread that. So let me pause for a second. No, the strong points can't move. Strong points can't move, and neither can the installations once they're placed. Sure, that'd be weird, wouldn't it? Okay, now, so my first thought to play this would be to actually have all of the counters, apart from the strong points and the installations, put into a cup. But beside me, using the real counters, so having a draw cup, and then still just placing these all upside down and doing a random shuffle on them, and then just placing the counters. But every time, I'll have these to the side actually. So yeah, I'm making a plan to play the game more as the mobile infantry, and have the skinnies as a sort of off-board reinforcements and counters. So have blank counters, have them, lots of these decoy counters around, and then when one of the mobile infantry move into the hex, I then draw counters to see what unit is actually there. So it could be a decoy, it could be an installation, and such forth. Then the strong points be allocated to when there's actually troops, make it a random table or something. So I'm gonna make a plan along that line. So therefore, I'm playing as the mobile infantry. The skinnies will be a sitting target. I've got 12 turns to destroy them. There won't be a concerted plan for them other than it'll be random. See how it goes. I mean, the whole point of playing the scenario 1 is not to win or lose. I mean, there's going to be victory conditions. Got to drive towards victory conditions. But the whole aim is to learn the game. So yeah. Okay. So let's go through the sequence of play. So you've got the Terran player segment. You've got a movement phase and a close combat phase. There's no ranged combat in this particular scenario. It's all close combat. And the humanoid player, movement phase, close combat phase, repeat steps 1 and 2 for each turn. Now, so they've got a movement phase, so they might want to gang up with you. I've got to rethink these humanoids. Hopefully by the time of the video, I do see episode 1, I will have a plan for the humanoids and how to actually... It's just those 4 decoys. Is there a way to use decoys without... Why don't I check up the solo rules from BGG and see how they advise to play the decoys? I'm getting there, guys. Getting there. Give me time. So anyway, so that's the sequence. Basically, the humanoids move, go into close combat, bish bash bosh, then see. Sorry. Right. It's the Terrans that go first. And then it's the humanoids. God blimey. All right. Okay, so step movement is standard. Okay, you've got that typical rule. Movement points cannot be exchanged or given to another unit or cannot be used from turn to turn. You can move as many of your units as you want. You move in any direction. Each unit is moved individually, tracing the path of movement. A unit's movement is considered complete when you take your hand off it. You know, don't follow that one too much when you're learning a game. No combat may take place in the movement phase. So it looks like there's no overrun. Units may freely pass over or stop in the same hex with other units, enemy or friendly, subject to stacking limitations. That's interesting. So you can move through enemy stacks and you can not force a stop. Complete list of the terrain features and their effects are given. Well, we'll look at that when we get to it. And the unit may not enter a hex of a particular terrain type unless it has sufficient movement points to do so. Okay, is there a minimum move? Unless there's... No, it doesn't seem to have a minimum move. Okay, stacking limits. More than 1 unit per hex. Yeah, up to 6 humanoid warrior, worker, and/or heavy weapon units may stack in a hex at one time. Then it goes on about arachnids. Yeah, we'll worry about that. An unlimited number of Terran units may stack in 1 hex, because each one of these is actually just 1 dude. Just 1 guy. So an unlimited number of Terran units may stack in 1. So what's the scale of this thing? Does it have a scale? No. Whereas each hex like 20 meters, 30 meters, 100 meters, or an old money, 10 yards, 20 yards, 30 yards. It doesn't actually say. But if the only combat is close combat personal weapons, I should imagine that each hex probably quite a bit of distance then. Okay. Because even, you know, an automatic rifle would have a range of, you know, sort of like 400, 500 meters. Plus, you know, we're talking in combat conditions. So an unlimited number of Terran units may stack in 1 hex. Stacking limits apply only at the end of the movement phase, not during it, and stacking limits are unaffected by the presence of enemy units in the same hex. Fair enough. So yeah, there's no rules for range combat. I think they come in the next scenario. No, it doesn't mention it again. Directly tunnel movement, breaching tunnel, order of turn, range. Oh, range weapon combat. Yeah, on page 7 of the rules. Okay, so we just have close combat. The close combat may occur between opposing. Keyword may occur between opposing units occupying the same hex at the discretion of the player who just finished moving. So you're not forced to attack. The player who initiates combat is said to be the attacker and the other player the defender. During the close combat phase of his segment, a player may only attack those enemy units occupying the same hex. So it's not adjacent stuff, it's all same hex stuff. With friendly units, only friendly units located in the same hex with an enemy unit may attack those units. All types of Terran units may initiate close combat. Only alien warrior units may initiate close combat. Heavy weapons and worker units may not initiate close combat. Okay, so that's interesting. What does this little dude do? Because obviously he's quite weaker. He's a scout unit. And the leader. Okay. Let's have a look. Units may so all types of Terran units, so Melida and the Scout can initiate combat, right? No enemy unit may be attacked more than once per close combat phase. All friendly units in a hex must attack. So you can't hold one back. Okay, each combat situation is resolved individually. For each separate combat, roll total the attack strength points against the defending and then odds ratio. Importantly, alien attack table is used only to resolve combat when Terran units are defending. The Terran attack table is used to resolve combat when humanoid or Arachne units are defending. Okay. Roll the die once for each attack. Apply the results, blah, blah, blah. So it's all the standard stuff. You've got odds tables. So the next rule bit goes on about these strong points. What do they do? Strong points are defensive fortifications that the humanoid player may use to increase the defense strength of his units. Fair enough. Strong point counters are positioned on the map board prior to the commencement of play. No more than one strong point counter may be placed in each hex. Strong point counters may not be placed in city or spaceport hexes. Cool. Each strong point counter may protect a maximum of 4 humanoid units. Okay. Units are indicators. So this, by skim reading the rules like we're doing now, already destroys my hope of the way I was going to set up these guys with a random draw for each time. So yeah, that's not going to work, is it? So we've got to make a coherent plan for the humanoids that uses the decoy counter. So I am going to have to do a little delve into the solo rules and see how they advise to do that. Strong points do not affect stacking limitations in any way. Remembering that 6 humanoids can be in a hex, 4 of them protected by a strong point. Units under a strong point can't defend with the defense strength of the strong point, ignoring their own defense strengths. So if you've got 4 of them, it'd be 12, but you only have 9 from the strong point. So units under a strong point can't defend with the defense strength of the strong point, ignoring their own strengths. All units inside of the strong point must be attacked as a whole at a defense strength of 9. They may not be attacked individually. Units under a strong point may attack normally. Units under a strong point are eliminated as a result of combat. The strong point is immediately removed from play. An unoccupied strong point is eliminated if a Terran unit goes in it. Okay, am I missing something here? Not all friendly units in a hex. Not all friendly units in a hex must attack, and not all enemy units in a hex must be attacked. The attacker always has the choice of dividing combat in any manner he chooses, provided that any attack has a minimum odds ratio of at least 1 to 3. Each combat situation is resolved individually, and the results applied to the specific units involved in this manner. Okay. For each separate combat situation, total of the attack strength points of the attacking units together, and total of the defense strength points. Okay, so I missed that. So basically, group of Terran units can go in, and if there's 3 of these skinny units together, Bish, Bash, and Bosch, and 3 Terran units go in there in that stack, those 3 Terran units could pick on just 1 skinny. That'd be 4, 8, 12 to 3, giving 4 to 1 odds. But each unit can attack once, or they could fight each one at 1 to 1. Right, and not all have to be attacked. But if those skinnies are in a strong point, then they all defend with that defense of 9. They can't be attacked individually. Okay. That now makes a bit more sense. Then we've got the rules on the inverted and decoy counter we've gone through. Mobile infantry organization and the Terran control sheet. Okay, which I showed earlier in the video. Is to record certain types of damage inflicted by the results of the combat results table. A full-strength mobile infantry platoon contains 54 fighting men, and officers organized into 2 sections. Each section is blah, 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 blah. On the terrain control sheet, each MI counter is represented by a counter diagram and box. These boxes will be used in subsequent scenarios. So if I can bring, I think I can bring that up. Yes. I'll put that on here. So as I say, each of these counters is one man. And then you have the respective boxes for each, and you put the ID in there and so on. Can I manipulate this? No, but I should be able to put a counter on there to show. And we don't really need this for the first scenario. Each MI counter, these boxes will be used in subsequent scenarios to organize and control various types of equipment carried by the MI units. Furthermore, the Terran control sheet is a systematic diagram which shows exactly which individual unit counters belong to each other. Humanoid organization. The humanoid ground troops organization not as rich as the Terran ones. Rather, the organization encompasses those ground forces and non-combat workers within the immediate vicinity of the military action. Okay. And then you've got critical installation counters. So let's remove that out of the way. Which are those there? Scenarios and use one. Right. Scenario 1 uses a special type of counter called a critical installation counter, which represents one of the Terran objectives for the mobile infantry's raid. Each of the three counters of the types of counters symbolizes a type of installation critical to the functioning of the humanoid city: power sources, communication centers, and water supply. Prior to the commencement of play, the humanoid player may place the allotted critical counters on the map board, subject to scenario setup restrictions, if any. Critical installation counters may not be placed in city spaceport or rough terrain hexes. Okay, they may not be placed in hexes containing strong points. In scenario 1, the Terran player may destroy critical installation counters by maintaining a functioning mobile infantry in the same hex, free of enemy units at the end of the Terran player segment. The MI unit must begin and end the turn. That's important. So effectively, it's going to take, you move in turn 1, for example, and then at the end of turn 2, you'll take out the marker. The destroy critical installation counter is removed at the end of the turn. Right. Critical installation counters must be positioned face down prior to the commencement of play. They are revealed in the same manner as other inverted counters. So we find them as we go. And then it says, stop, read no further, play scenario 1. So I need to now find out how to actually play this solo using, see if I can find the solo rules. Well, I had a little bit of a dive onto Board Game Geek, and the solo rules that they have there primarily, not primarily, they totally focus on playing against the bugs, which is not going to help the skinnies. So what to do about those decoys? Well, the decoys are going to be, I'm going to have them representing the installation. So I'm going to have all the installations upside down. And then I'm going to randomly place them on the map. So whenever a installation, then again, you've got the installation of the troops, aren't you? It's a troop or a decoy or a worker? Oh dear. I can't make a coherent plan for the defenders, can I, without knowing what that coherent plan is? So I'm back to version 1 again, which is everything is random. But once revealed, it stays revealed. Yeah. All right, let's go with that then. So if any of you guys could think of a better way to do it, or we place the strong points with a die roll. I mean, there are 6 strong points. They can't be placed in the city and they can't be placed on an installation. So if we reveal an installation, definitely not a strong point. If we reveal a skinny, then definitely is. Well, not definitely, because there's 12 of them, isn't there? So, yeah. Okay. Let's just give it a try and give it a punt. I'm going to do the setup for the skinnies, and then you let me know what you think once I've done it. So yeah, you don't want to see me just moving bland counters around, would you? That would be just not interesting at all. Okay, so that's my skinny deployment. Humanoids. Now, what I've done, see, there's one that's with a star. These are the decoys and the installations, critical installations. I did a shuffle of those, so I don't know which are the decoys. I do not know which are the real. However, with the troops, I do know roughly what is going on. Now, each of these strong points I couldn't place in a city, couldn't place on a critical installation. They've each got one skinny warrior in them, considering that they'll defend with the 9. Now, obviously, the Space Marines don't have to deal with those because they need to, the strong points couldn't be stacked with the critical installations, but I put them near the installations, as you can see, to help defend them. That should be on top there. And then with the troops, I've put one with an installation and occasionally in a worker. Is it ideal? No, but as I say, this is a learning the game exercise. The troopers are coming in on the southern map edge. I'm assuming that's the southern map edge, using standard map setups. And that will be it ready to go. Now, the reason why the skinnies are set up so far back, well, it takes the Marines about 3 turns to get here. So that means time-wise, did I do it all within 18? I didn't double check that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yes, they're all within 18. As far back as possible, because why would you want to be as close as possible, giving the Marines more chance to engage? It's a time-based scenario, and in best ASL tradition, if you can hug the map board edge, hug the map board edge. It means it's just going to take longer for the Marines to get there to them. So that's the setup. That's me ready to be done. Let's come back up to the top and have a quick end discussion. So here I am. Okay. Now, I'm bound to be quite a lot of criticism. Well, I don't say criticism, but a lot of people saying, that's a bad setup, blah, blah, blah. I have no idea. Really don't. All I'm trying to do is just say, play it, see how it goes. If I get halfway through the game and go, at least I'll have learned the rules and I can move on comfortably into scenario 2, which will be opposed. This one is not opposed. It doesn't seem to offer very much other than get in, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. But it's a learning curve. And hopefully it'll get me over that initial map. And it might come down to the wire. I have no idea. I don't know. I shuffled all those installation markers up. They're the ones that get me the points. I'm going to be careful I don't hit the workers. So that'll be the next video. And when that will be, don't know. I'd like to actually finish the book first. So I'm going to load this video up, let you know that that's my intentions, and hopefully you'll join me as I continue through this. And then eventually join me when me and Mark will do scenario 2. So until next time, then, play games, have fun, and any suggestions, comments and such, because this is going to be up for a while before I actually get to the game. You never know, I might, finish that book in 2 days. But knowing my reading speed at the present moment, because of so many other things, it won't be. So, as I say, play games, have fun. And until next time, bye, Internet.